Alright guys, welcome back. So on today's episode, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing a wash and chat. So we're going to go outside now. The Mustang's due a wash. It's been very clean, and then it just drizzled for about 60 seconds and all the pollen, obviously it's pollen season at the minute, so all the pollen just went onto the car. So it's due a wash, and the reason I'm going to kind of do an unedited, raw style video is I'm going to be talking about obviously updates, all the new products that are out, what might be coming out, etc. You might see a few products that are in development, being used on the car. So as I said, it's a wash and chat. I'm going to again talk about what's in my head, and hopefully you guys find it useful. So let's go. All right guys, so first wash and chat. Quite excited for this, so I can dump whatever's on in my head. So again, this is another iteration of my soon-to-be tire cleaner. Again, I'm constantly tweaking it. Prime the brush as well. So, boom! Look at that! What a beauty! So, mind you, these tires, I think they've had 4 days so far on the dressing side. So the dressing is still really strong on there. The goal is not to really strip it, it's to level it. Now, this is exactly what we're doing. So, wash and chat, first version. Bear with me. I'm going to try and do this largely uncut, so you could see how I do things my way, you know. This is not a lesson video of how to. So, about 10 days ago now, I've had my new website launch, which has been in development since September last year. So yes, September 2019, and it's been a painful process, only because me and Kelly are so picky. We actually had the website built pretty much everything that we wanted, and then we just changed the whole thing. And then after that, we had issues with the back-end functionality. Now, our old website, it was good, you know, it was okay, but with this one, it's a huge difference. So there's extra added security and stuff on there. Extra added security and so much cool stuff. As I said, the tire dressing is pretty much fresh, 4 days. It's repelling amazingly well. So as I was saying, the new website's got loads of new functionality, which you'll probably not even see it. but it's there for your benefit. So with a new website, which we wanted to launch January 1st, 2020, so new year, new unit, which was coming in a few weeks time anyway. So that was the plan, but with the new website came all the new products. As I said, it's really super cool. You can see some focus now. Yeah, it's been super exciting to actually have your own wheel woolies manufactured to your spec, and these are different. I mean, our sticks or the shafts, whatever you want to call them, are slightly different as well. The microfiber heads are different. Obviously, it's got our branding, our a different style handle, or the rubber handle. So it's been super cool. We were working with those guys as we were actually building the website as well, or a little bit prior to that. And obviously, wheel woolies came through a lot sooner than the website did. So wheel woolies were there. Obviously, we'll launch t-shirts as well, which the t-shirts again were here prior to the website being live, but we didn't launch them on the last website, on the previous website. We just wanted a few things to launch. Obviously, the 5-litre containers. So obviously new products. As I said, you've seen a few of the new products being worked on here. The first one being the tire cleaner. But especially with this brush, the way it moves, I forgot to brand the brush. So the way it moves the wheel cleaner around, as you can see, it's super foamy. It really activates the detergent level of the wheel cleaner. So it foams up really nice and encapsulates the dirt. Super cool brush. So that's the story with the wheel woolies and all the brushes as part of the Wheel Woolly brand. Really cool. I'm going to do a standalone video on them as well. To try and explain the benefits. But also with the website, we were going to have a booking tool on there where you can remotely book your car in, which would be cool. But however, we kind of had a thought, which is really true, that on most cars, apart from like the maintenance detail and anything like that, where it's a clean service more than anything else, we would need to see the car. So if you're booking in for enhancements, corrections, it's obviously essential for us to see the car, because if you, let's say, want a correction and we look at the car, we can actually save you money by saying, you may need an enhancement detail only, or vice versa. If you're booking for an enhancement and the car literally has been washed with a breeze block, we will advise that you need a service which is a little bit more in depth with the paint correction side. By the way, guys, if you've got really tight exhaust like I have, you can see it's tiny. This fits right in there. Look at that, amazing. But anyway, so we did have the booking tool. Actually, it was really expensive to build, and at the last moment we said, you know what, because of what I've just explained, let's not do it. So it's in the back end, but it's a bit it's isolated at the minute. it is there, but nobody can see it. So in the future, maybe we might introduce it for other services that may arise. So apart from the booking tool, like I was saying, we've also built a completely bespoke membership platform, which basically means it's an annual subscription, and you pay £100 a year, so it's under even a tenner a month. And what you get with that, which is really cool, this was kind of like my project, so Kelly had hers on the website, what she wanted to see, and this was mine. So on the membership platform, what you will get is, first of all, you will get a permanent 20% off, which you don't need no codes, none of that stuff. So you actually have, if you hover over the website where it says membership, you actually have your own dedicated shop. So you'll say member shop, you just come in there, all the prices are adjusted, so for the 20% off for life, or for the life of your membership. What you'll also get is free shipping with the 20% off. So again, you just order, you buy it, and it's done. You know, free shipping. And because we use DPD, you get a standard free next day delivery, or next working day delivery, let's say, which is also kind of in your benefit because that delivery is expensive. And also the third and final thing, you get a totally bespoke content platform on there, where what you'll see is you'll see me talking to the camera. You're going to actually talk about product development, a day in the life, like style videos, and we really take you in behind the scenes, behind the business, how we develop the product, everything really. So our personal life, where we're not kind of 100% happy to share it with people on the main platform, so like YouTube. And those are the three things that you get with a membership. And if you buy a lot from us, so free shipping and 20% off permanently is enough to attract anybody. But because as well, on the third part, we're offering a complete bespoke video content creation. I'm going to try and do it once a week, upload. Once a week, where obviously you will see me play around with some really cool things. Obviously, we've already had a ton of people subscribe to it. The people that truly understand where we're going with the company. So again, thank you so much for that. It's always appreciated. And we've had actually already interesting feedback from everybody else about how they're finding the content and stuff. I mean, the shop is self-explanatory, but also in this time, in a way, it was accidental. But since the lockdown was announced, obviously as a precautionary measure, I rang all my suppliers. And one of the suppliers, so for the triggers, I'll do a close-up. So this is the replacement trigger so far. So we found this company and we spoke to them, but our original triggers, so these are manufactured in Italy. So obviously they're really high quality, really expensive, because they're at the time the best. So we rang them up and the Italian people said, you've seen what's happening in the world, which obviously it's very unfortunate what's happening in Italy and Spain. So our triggers literally can't even be manufactured, never mind shipped. So I mean, we had I don't know, 4,000 or 5,000 triggers remaining anyways, so there is no panic. I knew it would probably last us 4 to 6 weeks, maybe 8, it depends, I don't know. But we started looking as a precautionary measure, ordering samples of new triggers. Now, with this trigger, I have heard many great things, so I thought, okay, I'll take the punt. So we bought a sample, and lo and behold, it's actually just as good, if not better. So this trigger is really premium, and the difference is, the key difference is that it's adjustable. So this is what we look for in a trigger, is first of all how many milliliters per trigger pull it releases, which is really important actually, especially on the thicker chemicals. But as I was saying, it's adjustable, so it has the same output as our old trigger. However, it's fully adjustable. So my camera decided to overheat in the sun. So I'm trying some new angles out. So as I was trying to say, before I cut out, the new triggers, basically, as the guy described them to us, are the Rolls Royce of triggers, and so far they're proven to be awesome. So I may have found, actually, in a good way, a better trigger. So again, what we're going to do, the usual procedure, we're going to give the car a thorough rinse. There's a lot of pollen on the car. We're going to foam it. Obviously, we're going to have to watch the heat now. It's almost 20 degrees. I've got the water filter on, so I'm pumping out 0 parts per million water anyway, but we'll still be quick. We'll rinse it again, and then on top of that, we're going to refoam it with a YumWash, which again will add extra lubrication onto the panel. And also, if it does dry, it's much better. In normal cases, obviously I'm running pure water, but if I wasn't running pure water, it would be better for the shampoo, which is pH neutral, to dry into the panel rather than water full of calcium, anything like that, magnesium, to dry in the pen, and that's where you get your water spots. So a nice thorough rinse. I mean, water is the best lubricant in the world, so to let the water carry most of the dirt away. And like I've always said, I'm a huge believer in this, that no matter what snow foam you use, whatever brand, it's all down into the protection of the car. If the car is not protected, you will be forced to use much more aggressive foams to obviously try and soften and remove the dirt, whereas what you're seeing here, a nice pre-rinse will remove up to 90% of the dirt, loose contaminants anyway. And for the other stuff, you're gonna have to do a contact wash on the car, unless you use something which is extremely alkaline based, and in that case you'll be stripping more than just dirt, existing protection. So this is why it's very important to keep the car at 100% in terms of the protection levels. So what I'm using here is a complete package from MTM. It's a swiveling short gun, coupled with all the quick connects, and also the MTM extension with the MTM different nozzles. So what I'm running is the widest nozzle now, so it's the 40-degree nozzle. Nice wide fan, lovely. So as I said, it's a full MTM package, extremely easy to use. I mean, the quick connections are not the cheap kind where after the first time you wash it, the water which you see coming out of here will just rust all the metal. This is all stainless steel. Expensive, but worth it. All the pollen's gone. I can actually see it running, so anything black, it's actually coming off black. It's running well on the protective paintwork. So now, time for the Yum foam. Now I diluted at 100 mil to 900 mils of water. So as I said, because the car's well protected, this foam can have a ridiculous dwell time, especially in not sunny conditions, overcast conditions of about 20 minutes. But in this case, we're just gonna let it gently pull anything else that we might have missed accidentally. So up to about 5 minutes, if that. Rinse it, and then obviously follow up with the Yum wash, which will just give us that thick suds, extra lubrication levels, and the ultimate safe wash. So the protection actually is really rejecting the foam as well. It's sheeting off super quick. So I probably had 3/4 of a bottle. I've got just under a quarter remaining. So while the foam was dwelling, as I said, just about under 5 minutes. As you can see, it's really starting to sheet off now. So sheeting off lovely. It's more than enough. It can dwell a lot longer than that. I've just literally refilled my foam cannon with 150 mils of Yum wash, 500 to 600 mils of water. Obviously mixed it up. We're going to rinse this off, reform it, and go directly into the contact wash stage. So I'll try and focus a little bit more on removing all the foam, both at this stage and the Yum wash stage after I do the final rinse, just to make sure all the cracks and the arches of the car flushed. Especially when it comes to drying the car after this. You don't want to be opening doors and having like loads of foam running out everywhere, so that's just not fun. And this car's got a lot of cracks. So obviously if I was washing this car, let's say now, you know, it hasn't rained, it was just light dust for a week, you can get away with removing the foam stage sometimes. Obviously use common sense. Let's do a very thorough pre-wash, foam it down with the YumWash, and do the contact phase immediately, because the stuff that the foam can't get off in general, even snow foam, you're gonna have to contact wash it. So obviously my way of thinking, you're gonna have something on the panel like a YumWash product to obviously it's not the chemicals removing the dirt or anything left back stubborn, it's the actual mechanical action of your hand. So you're going to do that anyway. Obviously you've got water on the panels now, but you might as well do it with something like a shampoo on as well, in the bucket and through a foam cannon. It just adds so much safety. It's looking good, looking good. As you may have noticed, I've got the front plate back on. It's an acrylic reusable plate. Really cool actually, worth the money. Because of all the road closures at the minute, I just don't want to attract any more attention onto the car. Obviously it's not very inconspicuous, orange and loud. But I'll get there. The really cool thing about this shampoo is I've developed it so it's safe to use in the sun. Of course, all chemical will eventually dry, any chemical. However, this is rated to be in the sun, so when it does dry, it rinses clean, there's no white marks, it doesn't induce water spots. Obviously it helps on the panels, kind of like neutralizes the water in the buckets. So yeah, it's cool to use hot and cold. So what I like to do is just a small mist. We'll cover most of the panels. Alright, so what I like to do is if you've got any foam remaining, you just put into the wash bucket. Nothing goes to waste really. So I rinse the foam cannon out in the rinse bucket, obviously refill it, we dump the remaining shampoo in the wash bucket and then agitate. So if you look closely, especially at the white bucket, this could again be something for the future. It's even got one of our prototype decals on. So the story behind the bucket is, again, a lot of people are asking, can you get buckets in? Can you get wash mitt pad, whatever you want to call it? No problem. However, everybody, and I'll say 99.9%, everybody goes to the same supplier, they go to the same company, and what you see on the market is pretty much the same accessories, just rebranded. In a way. Now, there's nothing wrong with that if the accessory in question is world-class quality, for example, wheel woolies. And you're not technically rebranding this because everybody knows it's a wheel woolly. So that's my thinking behind the buckets, in a bit of a tangent. And also, obviously, if you look at this, it's another prototype of ours. So the story behind the bucket is we've looked far and wide, and we've gone to the known suppliers, the unknown ones, and in our other unit I must have about 77 buckets now, all in different colours, all of different quality levels. Now the 78th bucket is what you're looking at here. So basically what you're looking at is a US made, totally bespoke bucket. It is, so the white bucket is 6 gallons, so 24 and a bit litres. If I'm correct, 624, yeah. And what you see here, it's his baby brother. It's your usual 5 gallon, 20 litres, what everybody else has. So obviously we bought two. Oops. So we bought two of these just to check the quality. Now, when we heard about these buckets, we thought, wow. And we looked at the pricing structure. They're very expensive. So for example, I'll talk about the 6 gallon bucket because this is the more real situation. It's the most expensive out the two. And what you get with it, it's extremely thick, extreme quality. Actually, when you look at the bucket from the top, you can actually see the thickness of the bucket. Now, I've asked a lot of opinions from customers and friends who've come here. I've had this bucket on display, and a good friend of ours, who's also a Mustang owner, he knows a thing or two about quality. So I asked him, would you buy this bucket for X? Because A, B, C, D. Obviously outlined them all the quality features that I've just talked to you about. And obviously he said a bucket's a bucket, it holds water. Fair enough. Now, when he realized what in the price was included was the full package, so grid guards, gamma seals, obviously the seal and the lid itself, he said, that's not a bad price then. So it's really interesting, you know, when people look at a price at face value and they say it's expensive, but like I always say, get what you pay for. And with this bucket, you're getting a whole lot of quality. So again, we're just using it. We're trying to break it. It's unbreakable, really. I've put full 24 litres of 100-degree boiling water. Nothing, you know. It's an amazing piece of kit, and obviously, it just makes the car washing experience just so much better. Again, this is all opinions, and this is what I think. Quality over anything. Even if it costs you a little bit more than a standard bucket, this bucket will last you a lifetime and will just enhance your detailing experience to a whole nother level. Now, regards the wash media, we'll call it, so this is a wash pad, but it could be a mitt or anything like that. So again, same story, went to the usual suppliers. They couldn't deliver, as always. So we approached the company who makes these and we asked them to make one for us. Our colour, the stitching's good, you know, these are machine washable, which means yes, it's white. And I washed the car with this, which was really dirty, you know, it's a test car, it's unprotected or hasn't been protected in a while, so obviously the dirt it was sticking, and this pad was very soon black. Now, again, if you do lamb's wool or anything like that, synthetic wool, from the bad suppliers, you can't wash these. So once a white pad goes black or dirty, it'll never wash out. Now this is fully synthetic, made to order. Doing the wrong section here. Fully synthetic, made to order. I'm just trying to catch my thoughts here. I can't multitask. Machine washable. The quality's there. We're just ironing out a few little issues, you know, which aren't really important, but they're important in our eyes. And then after that, it's really warm now. And after that, it might be up for sale shortly. Up with the buckets now. It'll be very interesting in the comment section to hear what you guys think about the buckets. Are you price driven or are you quality driven? Now, I'll be very interested to hear your opinions. Again, everybody's entitled to an opinion, so please voice them in the comments. Would you buy a bucket which is £5 to £10 more over your usual cheap tacky bucket, but for the price that you're getting the best quality, I can guarantee that, but also you're getting the full kit? I'd be interested in the opinions to hear what you guys say. I like to do loose water on this part. The boot's the worst, traps a lot of foam, and it'll start to run out the exhaust actually. Well, not out the exhaust, on top of the exhaust there's a little drain plug and the lights. Now, if you don't like foam in your Mustang boot lid, this is the trick. You can actually see right through it. And there's a lot of foam coming out of here now, so that's good. Until the water starts to run clear, you'll tell. There we go. Good trick. So the car's rinsed now. A few of our waffle weave towels. And obviously if you've got no water filter, dismiss the panel one at a time and dry it off. No water spots, guaranteed. Now, usually I use my Master Blaster for this. Again, if the car is really well protected, it's a tool that is amazing. Now, I'm just kind of doing a little bit of a video. If, say, you're in a rush, you don't want to start plugging equipment in, this is the method, obviously. Plus the waffle weave as well. I found this is why I went for it instead of your usual towels. It's amazing on glass, it's extremely absorbent, and they're super light. And also if you do pick up a water spot or two, the waffle weave squares are great at just knocking them right out. Add a bit of detail spray into it and you're away. Beautiful. What I always do as well, here's a tip. Obviously, if you're doing this on your driveway and you're not going to move the car for a few hours, your brakes or your brake discs are going to start to rust over. Obviously, exposed metal and water, they don't mix. So if your plan's not to move the car afterwards, just drive it up and down the road or up and down the drive, and it'll be perfect. Because I'm going to move the car into a space anyway, I'm going to use that movement to apply the brake a few times. It's perfect. And that way, if you do, let's say, leave the car overnight without moving it after a wash, what's going to happen is the first time you brake in the morning is the first time your brand new clean wheels are going to have a nice film of rust on the inside of the barrel and the face. So move it, people. It's the best thing you'll do. So I try and use a few towels. One towel will get you the best result still, but I just like to keep switching them, just in case you've missed something, dragging it over the whole car. So you're going to localize the towels a few panels at a time. I learned that the hard way back when I first started. I washed the car in darker conditions. Again, this was 8 years ago, I think now. And I accidentally picked up some dirt, which I couldn't see because it was a darker colour towel, and I ended up dragging it all over the car. So, lesson learned. And this is exactly another reason why I've gone for a white towel, is because if you do pick anything up, it's obvious. And you can just refold it, obviously take a new towel as you please. So after this, we're gonna use ceramic as a drying aid on the wheels. I do this after every wash. It's not overkill before anybody says it, because your wheels are the worst area, guaranteed. Whether you coat them, you don't coat them, they're still the worst. Obviously the wheel cleaner will get them to 100% every time, but to keep maintaining protection is key. So obviously in the future you don't use as much wheel cleaner, because the pre-rinse will get most of the crunchies off. So as I was saying, use ceramic, because in the long run you're topping the layers on your vehicle, on your wheels, and obviously on your vehicle as well, as and when you use that. But in terms of the wheels, it really aids in the reduction of, or the repellency of the brake dust, especially if you have a performance car, something like this, German, Italian, it doesn't matter. So in the long run you'll actually use a less wheel cleaner, you'll actually touch the wheels less as well, because you wouldn't have to scrub them. So it's always a bonus, adding protection, especially if you have a car that you can drive quick. Obviously, usually those sort of cars have got performance brakes which dust. Just makes sense. So we're going to do that, dry the tyres off, dress them, obviously move the car first, apply the brakes, and then dress the tyres, and then just wipe down the boot jamb, door jambs, etc. The interior is still immaculate, so I'm not even going to touch that. I'm going to put a bit of deodorizer in there just to keep it smelling deodorized. And that's it really. Obviously I'll probably come back out in about 30 minutes in case anything has dripped or anything. I'll take a fresh waffle weave or 2 plush towels. I think that'll be even better actually. And just wipe under the normal areas, so like the windows or the side mirrors. But this is exactly why I use a blower, because you won't have them problems. But sometimes when you just in a bit of a rush or you don't want to start plugging it in, you just have to add one more step to your process. So again, detail spray. The reason why I always dry something, the car with something on there, whether it be detail spray or YumCeramic, is because it's exactly the same with washing. Why I foam the car twice is the key word in this game is lubrication. So with this mic, if you can hear me breathing, I'm boiling. So lubrication is key. So in case you do, after everything we've just done, if you do pick up one piece of dirt accidentally, the lubricants and the detail spray will aid you in obviously not scratching the paint any further. So this is why I do it. It's key. So the final step, obviously, a bit of YumCeramic. Just give it a nice coating, and obviously, I don't know if you can see that because of the shadow, but the brake, just like I said, is already starting to rust up now. At this stage, it's okay. Now, if it really rusts up and you have to obviously press your brakes more than a few times in a few hours to get it off, this is where I told you about the film on the inside of the barrel. Now, we're going to move this in a few minutes once we dry it. Now, this is obviously our plush towel, the wheel specific version that we've got a few allocated for. Just dry the wheel. I do this after every wash personally. My wheels are really well protected, but I know that this sacrificial layer on the wheels will just add obviously extra shine out, but that's not what you're doing it for. You're doing it for the protection. And again, these wheels are 3-year-old. Obviously, if the tire was wet, it's completely dried off anyway. But if these wheels are 3-year-old, like I said, and there isn't a single mark on them, there's no chips. Now, obviously, the protection element of this got nothing to do with the chipping. But if you look after them well, they'll look after you. And if your wheels are expensive, obviously it's an investment. So for the sake of a few sprays, it's perfect. So first wash and chat. I hope you've enjoyed it. Hope it's been interesting just to see some of the behind the scenes, you know, the product releases that we're looking at. Obviously, I haven't given you a timeline on it because there isn't one. It could be tomorrow. Okay, not tomorrow, but it could be next week. It could be 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, you know. I just want to kind of involve you a lot more than any company does, just so obviously you guys who buy from us, you could see actually what's happening, what we're doing with products. If I was a customer I'd find it interesting. So this is why I'm doing it. I think it's really cool just to do an insight into all this sort of stuff. And show you guys exactly what we do. As I said at the start of this video, this is not a how-to. You could do it your way, because I know there's some weird and wonderful ways out there. 24 bucket method and 14 wash mitt method. It's ridiculous, but this is the way I do it, and the reason why I know it works, because I do this every day, so I know it works. And also I can judge the performance on my car in terms of, you know, am I inducing any more damage, which I'm not. Now, I mean, this car's due for like a maintenance enhancement detail, or maybe a slight correction in some areas. Ford have damaged the bonnet, they've cracked it. My front wing has been scratched by them. Now, I know it was them because the day before, it left me. I was testing another product on the paintwork, and it was perfect. I come back and it was really obvious. It was like a hazy film, so light scratches, so more than, in fact it's here. Obviously it's not in the sun, so you can't see it. And during the 2019 show season, I've had kids climb on the bonnet without, obviously I didn't realize this until it was too late, but there was kids on the bonnet, people leaning on the car as if it's an ornament. So there's a few things that obviously not induced by me or Kelly, but a few things that I know need to be fixed, so I might as well just use that as an excuse to kind of strip the protection, do a full decon on the car. As I said, I've felt the car 2.5, 3 years, I think. There's no contaminants on here. Again, in a future video, I'll talk about why that is. Apart from the protection, there's a few things that I do that actually help it, so I don't have to actually touch the car. Obviously, and induce more marks, which you will. There's no argument in that. You will always induce a mark when you do a clay bar service treatment. But yeah, so guys, that was the first wash and chat, wash and talk, whatever you want to label it. I hope you found it interesting about what we've talked about, or what I've talked about, you know, and hopefully, you know, haven't bored you with all the information or how much I rambled. Again, I showed you how I clean my car. It's totally safe. It's a proven fact. Anyone can come have a look at the car, no problem. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. So now I'm just literally going to move the car over a few bays, apply the brakes, dress the tires, and that's it. So I'll let the car now sit after it's moved and stuff, and then I'll come back in probably about 15 minutes, 30 minutes, with a few plush towels, a bit more detail spray, and if anything has moved, so any water from the jams that I'm about to hit anyway, that I've missed or something like that, or in the movement, I will come and sort that out, and that's it. That's a maintenance wash. I do this about 2-3 times a week, where time allows me, and I hope you've enjoyed it.